and the system is broken. Like, these people get into office and they don't have very much money, and they get out of office with fucking tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not a fucking accident, right?
Is that an Israel thing, or is that anybody? Because China's doing the same thing.
China, it doesn't have they don't have an AIPAC. Like, Israel is the only one that has a fucking, like, a lobby in the U.S. fucking, giving these politicians money.
In this video, Patrick Bet David sits down with Dan Bilzerian to talk about Israel and hash it all out. I do not know why Dan Bilzerian looks like Zangief from the Street Fighter franchise, and I do not know why they're sitting in what appears to be the aquarium room of a board game library. I don't know what's going on. Everything about this video is bonkers. So my commentary might be a little closer to MST3K than it is insightful political commentary. But you know what? Buckle up. Let's listen to these two morons go at each other.
No, every country, the big ones all have lobbyists. They all have lobbying that they're doing.
Not in the U.S. They're registered as foreign entities.
Right. I mean, if you're talking about, are you going to the dual citizenship part with Israel, Israel?
That's another problem is a lot of our politicians have far more allegiance to Israel than they do the United States. I mean, that's a whole nother issue as well.
Do you know why they did the dual citizenship? Do you know the history behind why they did the dual citizenship?
What do you mean?
Like, so the whole concept of dual citizenship was because when Israel became a, country again, they didn't want the people from here who wanted to go back to Israel that didn't have a motivation to go if they were going to lose their citizenship here. So that was the reason why they did it. It was kind of like, okay, you're your own country. We kind of need some of you guys to move over there to help the country out. Yeah, but I'm not going to go. Why are you not going to go? Am I going to lose my citizenship here? But you are. I mean, we don't do that. Every other country, I don't want to lose my citizenship. Well, okay, how about if we do this? How about if we allow you, just Israel, to go back to your country? You won't lose your citizenship. That was the arrangement at the beginning why they did it that way.
No, look, I get it. I have 3 citizenships. You know what I mean? I think it's okay. I think
what's the third one? I know Armenia, but what's the
St. Kitts.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have an issue with dual citizenship. My issue is when somebody is holding a U.S. office and they are putting a foreign nation's interest before America's interest, and they are favoring that other country. And so that to me is treason. Like, when you are a U.S. government official, your motivation should be to do things in the best interest of the government that you are representing, not 100%. Some other fucking foreign country. And that's the problem.
Okay, I don't know what's behind the Zangief look. I really don't. It's not helping me take Dan Bilzerian more seriously. Nor is all the F-bombs he's dropping. It just makes him sound like a boardwalk beach bro that doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, I think if you listen to his points, that's kind of reinforced. But the F-bombs and the Zangief styling doesn't help it. I will, however, grudgingly concede that I agree that American politicians' top priority should be improving the lives of Americans. Foreign policy is important. We have allies. Our allies' interests are important as well. But time and time again, we do hear American politicians who seeming to prioritize Israel over the U.S., and that's crazy.
Okay, so, but go through it. So what is the solution? Meaning, if Israel's the enemy, then if let's just say you don't do anything and everybody in the Middle East unites to take out Israel, do you think the Middle East is better without Israel? And do you think the world's a safer place without Israel?
100%. It's not even close.
Okay, tell me why. Why do you think?
Give me an argument otherwise, please. But give me one argument why the world would be better off with Israel. Let's just start with that. One thing. Give me one thing.
Have you ever lived in the Middle East?
No.
I lived there for 10 and a half years. It's a very, it's not as like here. You can sit here. You can be an atheist. You can be an agnostic. I can be a Christian. He can be a Jew. He can be an LDS, Muslim. No problem. We can coexist here. You can do that in Israel. You can do that.
I mean, not really. They're operating apartheid right now. So everybody's not living equally.
Not at the level of Iran.
Okay, I wanted to jump in with a wow, but I had to let that thought roll out. Dan Bilzerian might be the only person I've seen on these videos willing to just very emphatically state that he thinks the world would be better off without Israel. I don't know what that metric even means. Is the world better off with or without this country? Is the world better off? How do you measure what's better off? the whole premise is nonsensical in and of itself. And where they've found themselves here with Patrick Bet-David sort of being like, well, not like Iran. Okay, so maybe you think this is bad, but it's not as bad as that. There's problematic countries and states all over the globe, right? We got North Korea's, we got Russia's. I'm not engaged in whataboutism here, but certainly the United States doesn't have a sparkling clean pair of white kid gloves on either. We very aggressively pursue our own interests. Every state does. It's a messy, complicated, hypocritical business, global geopolitics. And I'm not apologizing or excusing anything. I'm just saying you can't be like, well, like if we're going to get rid of somebody, pick the worst. It's stupid. More importantly, where are they? What is this room? There's like a movie poster in the background that looks like a fake wall. It really looks like you took the board game Clue and you Harry Pottered like, okay, let's do an interview in the library. There's some weird writing there's a wall-to-wall aquarium behind Zangief. I just don't understand. It's like this bonkers conversation in this bonkers room between two bonkers guys.
Not at the level of what Iran is doing. I mean, in Iran, if you're thinking what Israel is doing out of control, do you know how much money Khamenei's family's made? Do you know how much money they've taken? They have 200.
I've never been to Iran, but I've been to Dubai, I've been to Saudi, like I've been to UAE. So like, and they're all Muslim. They seem to be operating fine.
I would say Iran's slightly different than. But go back to it. So okay, so you think the Middle East and the world would be a better place if Israel didn't exist?
Yes.
Okay.
Israel's committed, so many terrorist attacks. They're stealing land right now. They're operating apartheid. They're currently committing a genocide on Palestinians. Like. Do you believe in the genocide they're committing?
I think they're fighting for themselves and they're defending themselves.
Do you think that's defense? Well, when 1,200 people died, and of which the 1,200 you've killed and admitted that you've killed a lot during, your Hannibal.
I will tell you this. The part I question where people who are Jewish can't stand when I say this, I don't know how you, Netanyahu, claim you have the best intelligence in the world, Mossad, and you didn't know that on October 7th they're attacking
you. About it. They didn't. They wanted it to happen, so they had a reason to take that. Yeah, they wanted a reason to take the land.
I totally get it.
And they killed their own citizens. And they claimed that all these people got. That was bullshit. They claimed beheaded babies. That was bullshit. Everything that they said was a fucking complete. Not only was it a lie, but they committed all those atrocities themselves to the Palestinians and been caught doing it. In fact, they just got caught gang Palestinians, how many babies have they killed? All the things that they accuse the Palestinians of or Hamas of or whatever, they're guilty of 100-fold themselves. And they've been doing that. Like October 7th wasn't the start of this. Like the start of this was Nakba. They've done so many different.
Disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah, so I mean, this is not like, it's not like October 7th is like, it's all of a sudden they just came over there unsolicited and just killed people. Like they have been killing Palestinians for years and years, operating two sets of justice. It's like they have the justice for the Palestinians and the justice for the Israelis. And if you read the Talmud, like, if you're not Jewish, you're basically not a human. You're like, like cattle. If a Jew is killed by, somebody that's not Jewish, then it's the death penalty. If a Jew kills somebody that's not a Jew, then, you can't kill them. It's not the death penalty. Like they literally like segregate in their Bible.
Okay, Zangief, take a breath. Like you can criticize the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic, right? It's not anti-Semitic to criticize the actions of the state of Israel. I think in this case, Dan Bilzerian might be crossing the line into just anti-Semitism when he's talking about their Bible and they do this and they, again, point by point, what's going on in Gaza is horrific, and I'm not going to sit here and say it isn't genocide. The International Criminal Court, all of these organizations are calling it as they see it. And I think that case is pretty clear. Somewhere in there, if you want to say the formation of the state of Israel was an injustice and the Nakba was an injustice, I think there's very strong cases to make for that. I don't I can't imagine what's it gonna. Is Israel? You're gonna convince Israel that they shouldn't exist? They're just gonna pack up their suitcases and back out of it. It's not gonna happen, right? I mean, it's just not gonna. Israel is here, and if I had a magic wand, I think a one-state solution where everybody in the region had equal rights and a vote and a place in the government, and it really could be a freedom of religion, and it was open and welcoming to people of all faiths, and they all had a voice, whether or not they were Jewish. That would be a beautiful thing. I think that would incredibly strengthen the region. It's an idealistic and utopian vision for that region. I don't see that happening either. But you can condemn what happened on October 7th, a terrorist attack, and also say that the horror of that day does not justify the genocide, liquidation of the people we call Palestinians.
They're very protective of themselves. I don't think anybody can debate that. I don't think it's a...
Well, it's not the problem isn't that they're protective of themselves. The problem comes when you think that you're better than other people, and you think it's okay to lie to anybody that's not a Jew. You think it's okay to steal from people that are not a Jew. You have two sets of standards. The problem with that is it allows you to rationalize anything, right? And human beings are generally self-serving creatures. So if your fundamental religious belief system allows you to operate in such a way that you believe there isn't consequences to stealing from other people, killing other people, raping, kids that are under 9 years old, like if you think those things are okay, then, how are you going to operate? Because to me, like, my moral code keeps me on track.
I don't think that's what it is. I don't think it's because you're saying it one-sided. You're not telling the other side of the story on what they're doing either. You're not saying what Hamas did. You're not saying what they did.
What did Hamas do?
I mean, from day one, when you see the rapes and the videos, we've all seen it. This isn't something
what rapes and videos?
But stay on this here if you want to continue with this.
But what rapes and videos?
But my concern when you're saying Israel's doing it, you're saying the other side isn't doing anything.
No, but I'm asking. There was no rapes during October 7th. They've shown no rapes from October 7th. They showed no beheaded babies. All that was bullshit.
I'll send you stuff. No, there's plenty of stories. It's not all of them.
The Israeli articles that I saw recently said that there was only 2 babies killed. One was shot by a bullet, and the other one died in a hospital. There was no babies in ovens. There was no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
Okay, so go back to the part when you said they think they're better than you. You believe that Jews think they're better than everybody else.
It says it in their Bible.
Okay, but you believe they're better than everybody else. Okay.
I didn't say they're better than everybody else.
They think.
According to their scripture.
Okay, but what if...
And if you look at how they operate, right, like they literally caught people raping Palestinian prisoners, and there was riots. But the riots weren't because they were raping the prisoners. The riots were because they felt like they had the right to rape the fucking prisoners. That's why they almost had a fucking civil war, because they felt like they had the right to rape these prisoners. They felt like that was okay because they weren't Jewish. So, when you have a society that operates like that, you're going to have fucking problems. And they're not the fucking most moral army. That's all fucking bullshit. Everything that they say, it's just like almost like, listen, when somebody lies to me, like if you lie to me, I'm not probably going to trust you again. You lie to me a second time, I'm definitely not going to trust you. You lie to me a third time, and I let you lie to me the third time, I'm the fucking idiot.
Okay, well, I think that's a perfect note to end on.
I'm the fucking idiot.
For what it's worth, I also think Patrick Bet-David is an idiot. So, 2 idiots. One of them looks like Zangief arguing in front of the... is that a lionfish? I don't know what's happening in this room. Anyway, one thing I do want to touch on that Dan Bilzerian said was, if you believe that you're right to that degree, it justifies anything, right? And he starts talking about their Bible, of course, their scripture. That's the Torah, that's the Old Testament, if you're a Christian. And the Jesus stuff comes in the New Testament, but the Old Testament is very much a part of the Christian Bible. When he was talking about and criticizing Jews, I thought also of a lot of sort of Christian nationalist voices in our own country and some of the very un-Christian policies and things that have recently passed and the hypocrisy around that. So I don't think that he is making points that are completely baseless. I think he's practicing a little bit what he's preaching against here by painting with so broad a brush and accusing an entire group of one attitude or one set of policies or being culpable for the actions of a certain subset of that, right? I don't think all Jews are guilty of Netanyahu's crimes or views or actions. Certainly there are people in Israel, citizens, Israelis, that differ vehemently from each other on this and are protesting, much like we have people protesting in the streets in this country. So you can't paint any one people, whether it's based on race or religion or region or whatever, with the same brush. That's a very slippery slope, and Dan Bilzerian seems to be thinking in that way and doing a lot of that in this video. Why did I do this? I think I did it because it's a perfect example of all of the voices. And I've just got opinions. I'm not a political expert or an expert on any of this stuff. Even two broken clocks are right twice a day. And I think they do touch on a couple of good points that we can agree with. So I think inadvertently both men land a couple of interesting and decent points, and then undermine them immediately by continuing to talk. All right, I'm exhausted. Let me know what you think in the comments.